Hey landlords, in this video, we're going to talk about the 3 exact tasks that every new investor needs to work on a daily basis, something you can do every day in order to get you in your first deal or your next deal. The first task that you need to work on is analyzing deals every day, prioritizing analyzing deals every day, at least 2 to 3 times a week. One of the things that I notice about new investors is that you guys, you know the information. I always like to say real estate investing is not intuitive, but it's not rocket science. So it's easy for you to watch a couple videos and know the basics to actually buy your first real estate deal, but you never end up actually pulling the trigger and you're stuck and you're confused and you're like, why don't I actually execute? The reality is you're not executing because you have not practiced analyzing deals. So you don't feel comfortable. You see a deal. Oh, this deal, I watched this tutorial. I've spent an hour analyzing this deal. Okay, let me get a second set of eyes. Let me call my mentor. Let me call that person I met at this meeting a while ago and see if they can look at this deal. And then by the time you get them on the phone, 2 or 3 days later, the deal is gone. You haven't had enough practice, so you're not confident. Let me tell you a story that will help you to understand how important it is to practice basic real estate math or basic real estate algebra. This story is actually about algebra. Me personally, I always did really well in school. From elementary school all the way up to high school, college, I got pretty much, for the most part, almost all A's, a B or 2 here and there. But I went through a very dark period. When I was in the 10th grade, I got an F in my first marking period, and it was in algebra, algebra 2. Now, here's the thing. One class that I always got an A in was math. So like that was a shocker to me. Now, I don't know why I was shocked because every test I had for that entire marking period, I failed. But I thought like, oh, some magical thing was going to come in and swoop me because I always did swoop and save me. Some magical thing was going to come in and save me because I always did really well in math. But the reality is, up until that point, every math that I ever had, because I was so naturally good at math, every math that I ever had, I didn't have to practice. And then I finally take this algebra 2 and I need to practice and I don't practice. And so I ended up failing every test. And so after that marking period, I came up with a game plan. I looked at the syllabus. I said, okay, in order for me to get a B in this class, I pretty much have to get every single question on every test for the rest of the year correct. I was not cool with a C, and I darn sure was not cool with a D or F. I had never gotten a C before, okay? So I did the math, and I said, okay, if I practice, I realized my issue was with practicing. Even though I'm coming to class, I had been coming to class and I understood the coursework every week, which is what you're doing. You're watching these YouTube videos, you're understanding the coursework every week. Nothing trumps practice. And do you know what real estate math is? Algebra. It is the same thing. It's actually algebra. So I need you to prioritize doing algebra for your real estate business on a regular basis. I need you to practice doing it. And the only way you're going to practice it is if you put it on your calendar. You cannot practice it if you don't prioritize it and put it on your calendar. I promise you. One other thing before we move on to the next tip. For those of you who don't know me, I run the Better Than Success Real Estate League. It's a real estate club. We've been around for 8 years, and I have literally interviewed thousands of real estate investors. Maybe not thousands, maybe it's like 1,000. Okay, so like we have a mastermind. We've been doing a mastermind every Wednesday with a different speaker every week since 2016. We used to do an event every other week in New York with a different speaker for at least a year, maybe 2 years. I've had a podcast where I did 152 episodes with a different speaker. I also have done 8 large events. And for most of those events, a lot of times I would do interviews. So we're maybe pushing on about 1,000 different people. Okay. And so one of the things that really kind of got me in the very beginning was that I noticed that all of these investors, when they would talk about deals amongst themselves, they would be able to spit off numbers really quickly. Like, oh yeah, you see that deal on 16th Street? Oh yeah, I might get it for 100,000, but I get them to come down 40,000, and then I put 50,000 in it, and when I refi it, I can get 10,000, and then I get the 10 in there, and then they're having these conversations with doing math so quickly in their heads. And so let me tell you something. A lot of these jokers, they are not smarter than you. They are not better at math than you. They just have had an insane amount of algebra practice. And so if you want to be an investor, you got to do what an investor does. And that is practice your real estate math, your real estate algebra. You have to prioritize it so that when the deal comes up, when your money is lined up, when all the stars align, you can analyze it really quickly, make a decision, because guess what? You're looking at that deal right now, and there's another investor who knows how to do math really easy, and they are going to be able to scoop it up before you can blink, before you get your calculator out. So I need you to practice analyzing deals. Even beyond the math, I need you to analyze deals so you know what the properties in your areas look like, what's going on. Are they doing, real hardwood floors? Are they doing luxury vinyl? Are they doing finished basements? What is going on? How many bathrooms? What's going on? You need to know all these things at the drop of a dime. The only way you would know it is if you analyze deals. Okay. Trust me, put it on your calendar right now. So let's move on to number 2. The number 2 thing that you are going to need to do as a real estate investor, if you want to actually pull the trigger outside of knowing all this information, is you are going to need to start prioritizing going to real estate events. Again, I've interviewed we decided that it was 1,000. I've interviewed close to 1,000 or more real estate investors. And another thing that they all talk about is that their net worth is their net work, or your network is your net worth. It is so true. If you go back and pull any of my old tapes, anybody that I interviewed, they all say, they'll tell you a story about how they met someone, or they'll outright say your network is your net worth. Okay. So what does that mean to you? That means you as an introvert, you're going to have to start going to events. If you're an extrovert like me, that's just already good news. You can do it. You're just going to have to find time on your schedule. You're going to have to prioritize it. Here is good news for all you introverts, even you extroverts. In any given city, there are literally only about maybe 100 key players in the real estate investing space. Now, you may go to a real estate event and you may see a couple of other people, but they're not key players. These are people who are active investors. They all know each other. These are insurance people. These are lenders, wholesalers. It's only about 100 of them. So you don't have to get to know everybody. It seems overwhelming right now, but I promise you, if you go to 2 or 3 events, you're going to start seeing the same faces, and just get friendly with them. They have resources. They have all the things, once you get to know them, that can help you, that you won't even realize will help you pull the trigger. Especially once you get to be known as a buyer, they will start sending you deals, the good ones too. Okay. And the number 3 thing that you need to do as a real estate investor, or to become a real estate investor. Before we get into that, I want to talk to y'all about this video. This video is actually a part of a new show that I am doing. I'm really excited about it. It is called the Real Estate Productivity Show. Why are we going to talk about productivity? Because I realize that there is a ton of information out here about real estate investing. You already know most of the information you got from this channel. I just recently started taking some of the videos down because I made them private for our real estate retirement department bundle. But that's neither here nor there. You can learn about that. I wasn't even going to talk about that in this video. You can learn about that in the description. But we have like 500 videos on this channel, and so are other people. There's information out there. Again, real estate is not intuitive, but it's not rocket science. The thing that's keeping you back is not being a good student of productivity. Productivity is what gets the ball moving forward. You are underestimating the important parts of this journey. How do you set yourself up for success? How do you make these little tweaks so that you're actually pulling the trigger? Like the first two things that I just gave you. I promise you, if you did the first two things on a regular basis over the course of 3 to 6 months, let's just assume that everything else remained the same. Like you got your money lined up. You don't even got to have a whole lot of money lined up. You got your money lined up. Your credit is right. Everything is going on. You got it going on, and you're still not pulling the trigger. If you prioritize analyzing deals for at least 30 minutes to an hour every day and went to at least one real estate networking event per month, you did this for 6 months, I promise you would get in a deal. I promise you. That's productivity. And so these are the things that you're missing that you're not investing in. One other thing before we get into number 3 is I had an epiphany, right? I had an epiphany. I also teach a real estate cohort, a small cohort where we do a year long. I'm not even going to talk about it. I don't even want to pitch it to you, but it's for serious investors. And we just started our new cohort, and one of the things that we've been talking about is productivity. And I was just so passionate about it, like I'm passionate right now. And I was telling them, like, y'all don't know, I'm actually more passionate about this than I'm real estate. They're like, we can tell. And the reason I'm more passionate about it, and I wouldn't say more passionate, I'm just more passionate about it as a gateway to success than actually sitting there and studying, is because it's what helps actually pull the trigger. With my real estate club, the Better Than Success Real Estate League, another product that I'm also not pitching to you right now, one of the things that I've always struggled with was how to frame it, right? Like, I don't like to call it a mentorship. I call it a community because it really is a community, but that's not all it is. I just never had the word. So what I have been resorting to calling it is a system for real estate investors. Again, I'm not pitching it to you. Sit tight with me right now, because I promise you will probably get some value out of this where you can use it for your other business. And so I couldn't figure, I've been calling it a system, and I'm like, this is a system, it's a dummy proof system for investing in real estate. And then it hit me over the weekend that I just had after running this community for 8 years. It hit me over the weekend that it is more than a system. It is actually a productivity tool for real estate investors. I'll tell you another really quick story. Some years ago, this guy was trying to date me. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to date him or not. So I was kind of like, test driving him. I don't know, just hanging out with him. And he was an investor, and he had a really good friend that was also an investor. So I asked him to come and speak to our members, and he did. And then I asked his best friend, and they had a mentorship. And I asked his best friend, and he just kept spinning me. He would never give me an answer, the best friend. And so finally, I'm like, hey, what's up? Now, mind you, I'm hanging around the friend a lot. And so thus I'm hanging around him, right? So I'm like, I'm seeing you every day. I'm asking you, hey, when you going to come speak to our friends? When you going to come speak to our members? And so he says to me, hey, Nick, we're about to launch this mentorship. This is right before they launched, and I remember. We're about to launch this mentorship, and I don't want to be competition. And I didn't care enough to like debate with this guy. But I wanted to be like, bro, nobody's a competition. Like, we're not the same. Okay? We are not the same. No, you're not a competition for me. I'm sorry to tell you. I said it in a very nice way, because I can be not so nice. But it just wasn't necessary. And I was just like, okay. And so I say all this to say that I have not had the words until now to describe what BTS is. It is a real estate productivity tool. All the things that I'm saying to you, we put it into a system to make you actually become a real estate investor. So like, I'm giving you 3 tips. There are a number of things that real estate investors, hopefuls, can do to dummy proof the process of being a real estate investor. And it's all surrounded around understanding productivity, which again, I am obsessed with. So that's why we're doing this show. If you are a BTS member, I'm giving you all the game. If you're not a member, I'm still giving you all the game on this show. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. It's just that BTS makes it a lot easier. A lot of these things that we're talking about, we have in place. Like everything we're talking about, we already have in place. So you don't have to think about, you don't have to like stress yourself out about running your calendar. We kind of lightweight run your real estate calendar for you. Okay. All right. Let's move on to number 3. The number 3 task that you can do to further your real estate endeavors on a regular basis is to find the deals. How do you do that? You should spend at least 10 minutes every day searching for wholesalers until you get on everybody's list. You should be searching for wholesalers in Facebook communities and on Instagram, Google searches. So you should be hitting wholesalers up. And that's another thing. When you go to these events, find the wholesalers, asking them to add you to their buyers list so that you can have your deals right in your email box. What I will also do is set up a separate email that's specific for deals. So if you're a wholesaler and you got deals, you can just go ahead and add deals at betterthansuccess.com, and the deals come right to our inbox, and we actually show those deals to our members. So yes, you want to set up a separate email so it's not overwhelming, because once you get on everybody's list, is overwhelming. So that when you do go to sit down and analyze deals, you can log into that email and you'll see nothing but deals. This is all for deals, nothing but deals. Okay. Massively important to make sure you get on everybody's buyers list, and to make sure you are very intentional and strategic about it. Because if you're not, guess what you won't do? Find good deals. And guess what else won't happen? When you do stumble on a good deal, then you will not be ready to pull the trigger, because you don't even really know how to analyze a deal. You don't know your real estate math really quickly. I know. It's these small things. That's why I love productivity so much. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do is get out your calendar, figure out when you can analyze some deals, put it on your calendar right now. And look, you just analyze everything. You just analyze deals like you analyze this house, right? You looking at, well, I got books on the table. Why? What's going on in the background? What is that? A toy back there? Yes, it's a toy back there. I got a 3-year-old. You analyze my whole entire background, right? You probably ain't even see it till I did that. You analyzing the baby hairs. You analyzing everything about this video, and you ain't spending time analyzing deals? You better stop playing with me and spend time. You can analyze Diddy and his craziness, but you ain't going to analyze deals? Come on now. You better get your practice in and stop playing with me. All right, subscribe to this channel and we going to get it popping. Oh, by the way, really quickly, if you need a beginner's tutorial about the basics of the real estate investing, take my free course. It's free. I promise you it's free. It's free because I need y'all to be able to be on this channel and understand what I'm saying. So it tells you how to analyze a deal, how to tell if a good deal is a good deal or a bad deal. It tells you some real estate math so that you can go and take it and practice. Okay. All right. I love y'all.